What a spicy intro. Guys, how are you doing? This is Isaac Needs a Haircut Anderson.
I am Tyler. I'm back from Indiana, King.
And this is the movie show where we talk about movie news.
The reviews.
And every single thing in between. When did you go to Indiana?
Oh, when I went to Pawnee to
For
go
your
see,
probation hearing?
No, I went to Pawnee to go see Little Sebastian.
Oh! Yeah. 'Twas a joke. I didn't
It wasn't
get
a
that
joke.
one.
I got the shirt that says I met Little Sebastian in Pawnee, Indiana.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We're going to get right into movie news. Real quick, I want to thank Mr. Kyle. He's a volunteer over here. Thanks for doing the computer. He's not on the camera. Just imagine his face.
And his name is Kyle, just Kyle. K-Y-L-E. No first, no last, no middle.
Well, that's what we assume. But speaking about Kyle, Dr. Sleep has come out with a new trailer. No, not the man. I'm talking about a movie that's named this, and it's actually directed by Mike Flanagan. So technically he put it out. I'm just kidding. It was Warner Brothers that put this out. Somebody put this out and attached his name to it. Tyler, what did you think of the Dr. Sleep trailer?
I thought it was really interesting. I hope it follows the way the book did. The book was really good.
Yeah,
it was kind of like a not typical Stephen King book.
What do you mean by not a typical Stephen King book?
It really wasn't a horror film. It was more of like a suspense. It reminded me a lot of The Dead Zone.
The Dead Zone? Which is what I call my dating life.
Oh yeah, okay, say that was a good one. You better give you a... Yes, that was a good one. But this is the journey of Danny, who has grown up, the little boy from the Shining film, and he was told that his psychic power doesn't exist. The shine is false. He's just he's been traumatized from his father's alcoholic tantrum and trying to murder him and his mother. Mm-hmm. So he was told to believe that his entire life his dad just lost his mind. So he starts to discover the shine, and he's also an alcoholic. So he travels from place to place, just trying to get by. And the shine starts coming back out again, and he uses it to comfort people who can't sleep and people who are dying because he gets a psychic connection. He finds a girl who's just as powerful as he is. Then he finds there's people out there who have the same power that murder other shining to take it away from them, get even stronger.
See, that seems really interesting to me because obviously most people know the movie The Shining, which is a Stanley Kubrick project that was written by Stephen King, book-wise, and apparently he hated the movie. He said it was nothing like his book or anything like that, but people loved the movie. So this is a sequel to that, and Mike Flanagan, in case you don't know who Mike Flanagan is, Mike Flanagan, he directed movies like Gerald's Game, he directed Ouija, Origin of Evil.
Yeah, which was actually a really good film.
Yeah, you told me it was a great film. I kind of... swept it to the side, thinking to myself, oh, this is a bunch of garbage.
No, dude, it was great.
Yeah, and you ever watch the movie Hush?
I saw Hush.
Yeah, he directed Hush.
Hush, that was suspense, man. It was great.
Yeah, so very competent director.
He can get small budgets and not a lot of material, and he could stretch them out and make a gold mine out of it.
He's like the new James Wan.
He's the new James Wan, but just don't sell out.
Yeah, I would highly recommend Gerald's Game, by the way. Gerald's Game is fantastic. And so, I mean, he's already kind of in the world of Stephen King and everything.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he understands Stephen King's books better than a lot of other directors are out there.
Well, what do you think about Ewan McGregor playing Danny?
I'll go for it. I mean, Ewan McGregor is just as good as his director.
I beg to differ. I think he's just a great director. I think he's a great actor, regardless of director. I mean, he's in great movies, and he's also in the Star Wars prequels. Well,
he does give it his all, though.
Yeah, I mean, see, he's good in those, even though he has George Lucas as a director. So, I mean, he's a great performer all around. I like his acting. Hearing him with an American accent always throws me off. I don't know what it is, because I always imagine him hearing Obi-Wan whenever I see him. I don't know. It's just weird. But any final thoughts on this before we move on?
So I'm just glad Ewan McGregor's career is getting back up. I'm so glad he's got the high ground again.
Yeah, well, he's always had the high ground, but whether or not that's actually going to benefit his career, that's up to debate. But speaking about up to debate, the Scrooged remake is apparently happening, and Kevin Hart's playing old Bill Murray's character.
So I do got a big question about this.
What?
Why?
Money.
Money. Do you need to remake Scrooge? Scrooge is a timeless classic. Bill Murray, I mean, you can't do better than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, man. Kevin Hart's pretty big right now. Like, don't you want to hear him say things like, ooh, that person's nasty, and ooh, my goodness, that smells rough.
Look how little short I am. I'm a tiny man. Look at me, I'm a manlet. Look, I'm a little tiny manlet.
Girl, you don't know nothing. Like, don't you want to see that kind of stuff in this movie?
Exactly.
I want to see that kind of stuff.
Please tell me that Tyler Perry's not attached to this.
Tyler Perry's not attached to this. Neither is The Rock.
Okay, that's good.
As far as we know, The Rock will probably make an appearance from this. So Tyler, in case, the youngins out there, you being a 65-year-old man, tell people what Scrooged is.
Scrooged is a modern retelling of the Scrooge classic by Charles Dickens. This one is, he went from being a loan shark to a television executive who stabbed his way to the top. And then he gets an unhappy, wake-up call during Christmas from his past, his present, and his future.
Okay, so this is like basically It's a Wonderful Life kind of thing.
No, it's not.
Okay.
This is more like it's really comedic, but it's like a dark comedy.
Okay.
But it had the Bill Murray charm to it, and you had that Harold Ramis feel to it too. I loved it. Who directed it?
I can't remember who directed it. I feel like it was.
Was it Harold Ramis?
It says right here a bloop production. I forgot. Richard Donner. It says Richard Donner film.
Oh, Richard Donner film. Okay, Richard Donner.
Yeah, I didn't write that down in my notes. All I wrote was Kevin Hart. Why? Because I thought that was basically what we're going to go on this. But as far as like they're going to remake it, looks like it's already in there. If they're going to remake it, what do you think they should do with the movie? Should they try to go in a different direction, or should they try to remake this movie to try to uphold like whatever quality it had?
Well, the other problem about it too is this movie. The best charm about it too, it was an '80s film.
Yeah.
And it had the nostalgia. Well, not nostalgia, but it had that '80s shine to it.
Yeah, it had like the kind of the real puppets and like the real kind of like analog effects. Now it's going to be like a big CGI whirlwind.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I liked about the original. It was, and you had good comedians in it too, cameo comedians.
Well, Kevin Hart's a good comedian too, but I mean his movies are like lower brow than like his comedy.
See, and this wasn't a lowbrow film.
Yeah.
I mean, it honestly made fun of greed. It made fun of callousness. I mean, it even made fun of a wasted life. You know, it was great.
So it had like bigger themes, but it still had like comedy.
Have you seen it?
I've never seen Scrooge.
You haven't seen Scrooge?
No. I did my research on trying to figure out what exactly it was about, but I've never actually seen Scrooge.
But the whole thing is about him making a production of Scrooge for TV, and he is not. He's convinced that he's having a nightmare because he's getting too involved with his work.
Okay, well, see, that's pretty interesting. It'll probably suck when they remake it.
Oh,
but,
without a doubt, without a doubt.
But anyway, yeah. So, any final thoughts on this before we go on?
Please cancel it. Don't do it.
Heard. That's what most women say right before we go on our date. And speaking about my dating life.
Wow, that was a good one. Man, you want to roll today.
Oh, yeah.
You want to roll.
Well, speaking about rolls, 3 from Hell, directed by Rob Zombie, just came out with a trailer.
Oh, is that really? It's another Rob Zombie movie that I'm not going to watch.
Wait, hold on. Let Collective Soul answer you.
Oh.
That's exactly what it is. Okay, so 3 from Hell, in case you don't know, is the third movie in the trilogy that included...
Suck.
I gotta... Hold on. You gotta get one more.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I believe I told you this before the show started. Being a good writer, being a good producer, doesn't make you a good director.
And being a good musician.
Being a good musician, well, you use that term loosely, but that does not make you a good director.
Yeah, so in case you don't know who Rob Zombie is, he's basically like if Monster Energy drink mixed with like nicotine. And like if that was a person. This would be Rob Zombie.
That's exactly what, that's a good example of Rob
mixed
Zombie.
with a little beef jerky. Can we cut to a photo of Rob Zombie real quick? I believe, yeah, he's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't you just hear this guy talk right now?
Everybody's like, who's that greasy old man? See, that's Rob Zombie. What, who?
Yeah.
Who's that? He's in White Zombie. Wait, what?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, Rob Zombie, he has made a lot of films. He directed the Halloween reboot that was basically like a shot-for-shot remake of Halloween.
Oh, if I can remember, I believe that sucked.
Yeah, he also directed
suck.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
That also sucked, but it's a cult film.
And The Devil's Rejects.
That sucked, but it was also another cult film.
Well, this is the third one in this trilogy.
Wait,
okay?
what about the Lords of Salem?
He did Lords of Salem. His wife was the star of that, right?
Oh my God, what was it, Sherry Moon Zombie?
Yeah. She's in this movie too.
That too sucked.
She's like the Helen Bonham Carter of Rob Zombie's career. Yeah, that woman right there. Yeah. And some guy that looks like homeless Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
And Dirty Gandalf is what I like to call this guy. Yeah, his movies just kind of have like this really kind of dirty, kind of dingy feel to them. He does have some good shots in this movie, I have to say. A lot of his movies have, Lords of Salem has some really, really nice looking imagery.
Did you see Lords of Salem?
I saw like about half of it and I had to shut it off. I got really bored.
Yes, it's like, I believe at the end there's a lobster baby who's the Satanist.
Yeah.
Who's the Antichrist. I'm like, this is really dumb. I'm like, I have to say, this is probably one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen.
But any final thoughts on this before we go on? Anything about the trailer?
My big question, why did this make it onto our news board?
Well,
that's my question. I mean, like,
it was either this
is not news.
Okay,
like,
well,
Rob Zombie's at it again.
It was either this or the Frozen 2 trailer.
Honestly, I would rather talk about Frozen 2 than Rob Zombie's crappy films.
I don't know.
He is like the ooey bowl that could actually work a camera. Uwe bowl. How do you pronounce it? Uwe bowl. Please somebody Google later. Tell me if it's Uwe bowl.
It's Uwe bowl. But speaking about knowing how to work a camera, Mr. Quentin Tarantino is producing a Star Trek movie that we've talked about before.
No, I'm excited for this. I'm excited. I want it.
It's confirmed rated R.
I want it.
Imagine that.
I want this to happen.
So Tyler, we talked about this before. Mr. Tarantino's at it again. It's not confirmed if he is going to be writing this, directing this, but he is producing this, which as we said before, producing is a very loose term. This can mean anywhere from like, I'm on the set, I'm crafting the story with the director. He's basically like a second director. Or producing can mean like, I showed up on set for about 20 minutes one day and I gave some money to the production, therefore I am producer.
Well, I doubt Quentin Tarantino do that. Quentin Tarantino, you can tell he's in it for the art of it.
Yeah, he doesn't enjoy something unless he really feels strongly about it.
I heard he turns a lot of stuff down, a lot of stuff. So if he's attached to this, it's probably a passion project for him.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the same thing too. Like when I first heard about this, I'm like, this is probably never going to get off the ground. This is never going to happen. But it turns out he gave an update on it. He's like, yeah, this is going to happen. And everyone sees the rated R and is like, oh, it's going to be like all bloody and gory and everything. I think the rated R means more when something's rated R, you automatically go to kind of adult themes and kind of like smarter ideas instead of trying to, well, we can't put this in here because the market between the ages of 13 and 17 are not going to be able to see it.
399 cuss words.
Yeah, can we put like, a funny little sidekick to this guy? Can we put some more jokes in here? We gotta reference this. We gotta do that. When you do an R-rated film, it automatically shuts off the idea of this movie is for children. This is a movie for adults.
But to be honest, I mean, to his credit, what kid's gonna want to go see a Star Trek film?
I mean, a lot of kids went to go see those Star Trek 1 and Star Trek in the Darkness.
I mean, I'm talking about 5 and 6 year olds. Who's going to want to go watch that?
Well, I mean,
this is not 1966 anymore.
I just want Star Trek to be cerebral instead of action movie. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you want old school.
I feel like this is what it's going to be. It's not going to be like tentpole every 10-minute action scene kind of thing. It's not going to be like Star Trek Discovery where it's just like boom, doom, 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 boom, boom, and that's the camera supposed to be right there. But I'm excited about this. I hope this gets off the ground pretty soon. I don't know how the casting goes. If it's Tarantino's involved, I imagine it's going to look very 60s.
It's going to have Samuel Jackson, and I'm excited because Samuel Jackson is finally going to be in every franchise.
That'd be fun as long as he doesn't play like a Mace Windu kind of person on the ship. That would be kind of sucky. Any final thoughts before we go on?
I will probably watch it opening night.
Heard that. I'm excited for it. And guys, let us know any thoughts or questions or concerns that you have about any of the news topics we talked about. You can go to facebook.com/studio67ncc. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks so much for watching so far. We're going to take a really quick break, but when we come back, we are going to review X-Men Dark Phoenix. Stay with us.
When it comes to culinary arts, Nash Community College is here to turn your burning passion for food into a career. Our chefs, with over 70 years of highly qualified industry experience, are here to point you in the right direction, teaching and handing down classical culinary techniques that will improve your skills and help you cut your way into the food industry. Gain invaluable experience, vital to cooking and preparing delicious food, served in a personal and creative environment. To learn more about the Culinary Arts program, visit nashcc.edu.
Cyclops Anderson. It's nobody here? That's Tyler.
Yes, that's me.
Dang, you're supposed to say your name, buddy.
I was bemused by what you were doing.
I was afraid.
I was about to say that was a really good impersonation.
Thank you. Well, we're about to talk about something that's not so good, and that's terrorism. But before we talk about that, we're going to be talking about something that we also didn't really like. What is that?
The Dark Phoenix.
Okay, Tyler, what is X-Men Dark Phoenix about?
What isn't it about? It is X-Men 3.
Yeah, well,
The Last Stand. But I have to say, it's strange that Brett Ratner did it better. But, okay, Dark Phoenix is a film about, it's the third in the rebooted, fourth in the rebooted universe, the soft rebooted universe.
technically fourth.
The fourth in okay, what this is about is Jean Grey doesn't, the X-Men are beloved superheroes, and they try to stop a spaceship, and she psychically goes and saves them, and she gets a alien parasite that gets into her brain psychically. Which that follows the comic books.
Well, that's comic books don't always do it the best. I left saying this movie sucked. I'm like, wow, I really didn't like that movie at all. After thinking about it a little bit, I don't dislike it as much as I did, but I still don't like it.
See, I'm like you there. So I watched the first one, I didn't like it. Then I sat on and thought about it, and then I'm like, this movie's worse than I thought it was the first time.
Well, as I said,
And then I saw it a second time,
as I said in my,
and then I was like, it's a little bit better.
oh, you saw it twice?
And then I watched it a third time, and I realized, wow, this was horrible. This
It's like
is the worst.
X-Men Stockholm Syndrome.
It's bad.
Well,
It's bad.
I said in my written review right here, I'm like, this movie was a lot like my past relationships. It had good intentions, but in an attempt to correct a past mistake, made things a lot worse.
Which they didn't even. There was a lot of mistakes in this film.
Yeah,
Continuity-wise, filmmaking-wise.
Okay, well, we're going to get into that
writing-wise.
really quick. Yeah, my original thoughts was not a huge fan, but I liked a lot of the things that were in it.
Nightcrawler was awesome.
I wasn't crazy about the whole film. So let's talk about specifics. We talked about this is very close to the comic books. So just warning, we are going to go into spoilers over this because we might as well. If you want to see this movie, it's probably not going to be in theaters for too much longer. So spoilers for X-Men Dark Phoenix. So Tyler, when you say this is very close to the comics, what do you mean?
That the Phoenix is an alien and not, I guess, a dissociative personality.
Okay, so this is...
That's it. That's where the end. Oh, and it was she got it saving some astronauts. That's where it ends, man.
Okay, this is
where it
something that
ends.
we disagree over. You said that's close to the comics. You kind of like that. You're right. You like the fact that it was a cosmic entity.
Yeah.
I did not like that, and I've heard so many people. I've told people I don't like the fact that this was a cosmic entity. And they said, well, how do you not like it? It's the comic book. It's exactly what the comic book is. It's great. I'm like, oh, who cares what the comic book says? I think it's not as interesting as this something being just genuinely inside of her that she can't control. You mean, because then it's like, well, it's not really her fault. It's just like, like she's basically possessed by a demon. And
Pretty much.
Granted, they tried to do something in The Last Stand where this was something caged inside of her. They didn't really do it all that well. But to me, just that concept in and of itself, like the beginning of this movie starts with, she can't really control her powers, and she winds up killing her mother in the car crash. And that always, it was like, oh, that's the Phoenix coming on, getting unchained.
That was confusing to me, though. So it was like, so he makes her forget that, but she's not a threat because she was losing her powers, but he made her forget that she almost killed her parents.
Yeah, like it just makes him come off as like a jerk, really.
I'm like, yeah, you're like a jackass. I mean, honestly, I was like, wow, James McAvoy, you suck. I was like, this is not Xavier that I know.
Also, it wasn't really the Xavier I know in the sense of like. By the way, I like James McAvoy as a character. He looked incredibly ripped in this role.
He did.
Partly because he was shooting glass at the same time.
For a 61-year-old man, he looked really ripped. I must say.
That's another thing. People were saying, well, they haven't aged at all. This takes place in the 90s. It takes place in like 93. It's supposed
1993.
to. And if you notice, they look exactly the same as they do in First Class. Like Magneto right here is supposed to be 61 or 63 or something.
63 years old. So my question is, at 8 years, what happened to him in 8 years?
Apparently
7 years. Excuse me, 7 years.
It's like he got like the Palpatine, for like somebody like Mace Windu like shot some lightning back at him.
Apparently everybody got Palpatine because
Hank's supposed to be 52, 53?
53 years old. It looks like he's about 31.
And Mystique, well, we'll talk about Mystique, but Mystique, they say something where she like ages half the rate of somebody else, so it makes sense why she would look young. But like they didn't take any consideration with their age.
Pull it back here. Didn't he inject himself with some cells from him turning blue? What if he's aging slowly too?
That makes sense. But how do you explain Magneto and Xavier though? Xavier looks like he's like 36.
That is the power of crunches. Crunches and
pull-ups.
Pull-ups. And he's probably got an ab lounge at home. It's probably age him so. And I guess when you're psychic, in which I don't know, I can't give you the whole.
Well, speaking about happiness,
Xavier.
Look at the face of happiness right here. Can we just take a moment to realize how ecstatic and just how passionate Jennifer Lawrence is about this role? You can just see it just exudes from her how like she just wants to get this character right, and she really just wants to make sure that like she does justice to the character Mystique, and she's willing to go to the nth degree to try and not get in that makeup again.
What I got from this is like hurry up and kill my character. I want to die. Kill me. Kill my character.
Immediately, since we're talking about spoilers, her whole character throughout this whole thing is her coming to terms with like, you know, there's that scene in X-Men First Class where she's talking to Magneto and she doesn't like who she is, so she stays at Jennifer Lawrence's face. And then he's like, I want to see the real Raven. And then she turns back into the blue person.
I do, and then he was like, I want the real Raven. And then she turns into Raven Simone. He's like, perfection. Perfection.
But her whole character's like, she's mutant and proud,
Yes.
and she doesn't want to stop being blue. She's just going to be blue all the time. But now all of a sudden, the first thing she does is like turn back into Jennifer Lawrence. I'm like, why?
I got a feeling. I have a theory on this. Stick with me. She didn't want to put the makeup on.
Yeah, and so it goes completely against her character. It makes it so much less interesting.
Yeah.
She does that in Apocalypse too. The first thing she does.
Yeah, she looked miserable in Apocalypse. I mean, she looks even more miserable in this.
There's like a throwaway line in Apocalypse where like, why are you not blue? And they go, just because I'm guarding myself from people persecution-wise. I'm like, but that's your whole thing.
She's got a look on her face like they're this film's like they're holding my cat hostage. They would kill my cat if I don't do this.
She more looks like I'm under contract to do this thing. I'm an Oscar-winning actress.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? And also, I like the cast that they gave. I like the guy they played Cyclops.
Yeah.
I'm Ty Sheridan. I like that guy.
Yeah.
Ready Player One fella. He's got big lips, and that makes him.
Oh, I bet you do love that.
Shut up,
dirty little boy.
Okay, wrong. I gotta give you props on that.
Yeah.
I'm like it makes it good. Like if you can't see somebody's eyes, like you cast James Marsden, who's got.
See, it makes his lower face pop.
Makes his lower
See,
face pop.
if you Geordie yourself on your eyes, it makes your bottom face pop.
Yeah.
That's how that's how we got the role of Reading Rainbow.
Okay, so as far as going back to the story and everything, since we're in spoilers, Mystique dies like 20 minutes into the movie or something like that.
Yeah, I guarantee you the draft had her living a whole lot longer until her manager got involved.
Well, actually, that I feel like that probably was always in there, just because it does motivate.
And I have another theory. She's probably expensive at keeping this film.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you,
you win that Oscar, your price goes.
Unless you're Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, then it's just like, I'll come to your Dollar General opening. Just pay me.
I'll give you $20,000 and a pack of Tic Tacs, and he's like, I'll do it.
You can pay me over the course of 8 years. I don't care. I'm going to watch my octopus, and then I'm going to act that way. That's a real story, by the way. Look it up. That's a real. So as far as let's kind of wrap up with our final thoughts on this and everything. So the story in and of itself made sense. I wasn't confused to what was happening. I thought the dialogue was a little clunky. I thought the story was kind of executed in kind of a ham-fisted way. I didn't like Jessica Chastain's character. I thought she was not very interesting. I thought she was kind of pointless. You could have made that something a little bit more complex and interesting.
Very stoic.
This is just a personal thing of mine. Whenever somebody in a movie does like the creepy, and this is in horror movies too, whenever they do kind of the, hi, you were here. Kind of that monotone kind of like distant thing. It doesn't scare me. It's not interesting. It feels so cliche and like feels like acting class. It feels like sophomore year acting class is what it feels like, and I hate it. That's just a pet peeve of mine. Doesn't mean it was bad, but I thought it sucked. And I love Jessica Chastain's face and acting. So that was kind of disappointing. And also
the train.
We should talk about the train.
The train.
So Tyler, why are they on a train at the end of this movie?
Budget.
Okay. Well. I think, in case people don't know, they had to reshoot the whole third act of this movie.
Because Captain Marvel.
Well, now they're saying it was Civil War.
No, it's Captain
But
Marvel.
this was shot way before, after Civil War. I mean, so this had to be Captain Marvel.
This is Captain Marvel. But what I've heard is Captain Marvel got the Skrulls. They had to dump the Skrulls from this movie. So they're
Now they're like tree Groot-like creatures.
Tree Groot-like. I'm like, why can't you get rid of that and just do Shire like the original story?
And by the way, the little twisting effect that they do to kill the people looks so bad.
It's
It looks
bad.
like first render After Effects is what it looks like. But that's just personal opinion, but I'm right. The whole ending of this film, I like the fact that it was smaller scale. I like the fact that it wasn't like, the world is blowing up and everybody has to protect the world and there's explosions. I like the fact that it was like the smaller story, but I just wish the story was a little more engaging, a little more interesting. It took a little bit more time to develop these things. Just felt like it was like rushing through. It felt like it was a little bit too fast in the editing process. And also, last thing I'll say is the score never stops throughout this movie. Did you notice that? Like the score goes continually throughout the movie. It's almost like
There's even parts where I have a hard time hearing what they're saying.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer did the score for this, which I was really surprised about. Like they basically said, well, we don't have enough story to really get people really engaged and really interested in something really smart and creative. So if we put the score throughout there to trick people into thinking this is emotional, this will work. Did the same thing for the BFG. They did the same thing for a lot of other movies. But anyway, I'm going to give this movie a higher score than I originally did. I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 10.
Oh, wow. So you had a lower score than that?
I said 2 out of 10 first.
Oh, well, I'm going to give it 2 out of 10. That was my original plan.
Okay, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 10 just because it's not as bad as like an X-Men Origins Wolverine or something like that.
I gave X-Men Origins Wolverine like a 5 out of 10. This is 2 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you being for real?
Yes, because Sabretooth, it was awesome in that movie.
We'll agree to disagree. I might go down. I'm hovering somewhere in between that. Heck, let's go 3 out of 10. Screw the 3.5 out of 10. Anyway, guys, let us know what you have to say about this movie. You can leave us a comment at facebook.com/studio67ncc.
And I like the Phoenix, this series may not rise from the ashes.
Yeah, give it 5 years and they're going to reboot it with another cast, which is a shame because I love the cast. I love the cast that they have in this movie. I like that guy. Forget about that. I like her. I like Evan Peters. I like Nicholas Hoult. They're not going to keep him, but I like him. I also like the suits. The suits are cool too.
What if they get Matt Damon to be Professor Xavier?
Sucky.
Yes.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. Next week, we're going to be talking about MIB International, or MIB International, or Men in Black International. Either one. It's one of those three.
I'll see it.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. My name is Isaac Needs a Haircut Anderson.
I am Tyler. I love Will Sebastian.
Yes, you do. You going to add your last name to it?
Keen.
There you go. You're not
Yeah.
Beyonce. Thank you so much. See you next week. Stay lovely.
Bye, little.